Hello everybody. Just walking around the homestead today and checking on a few things, checking some fences. And it's good this time of year to make sure that your fences stay tight, which could use a little tightening. But overall, it's pretty good. And I will say, it's nice to be here and be able to check on your things from where you live. But also, I'm struggling with a little issue, and that is that my homestead is spread out across a couple of different parcels. And I know with farming that's okay, and that's usually generally acceptable because you don't want to necessarily live at work if you're farming full time. But if you're homesteading, I kind of want to be close to my stuff. But I got a little wisdom today from a fella who he said, yeah, it's a bad idea to live on your place directly on it. And while I can see that, there's pros and cons, right? And he admitted that. And the guy who told me this I regard as a very, very sharp individual, been around the world, been around the sun a few times, let me say. And he's sharp. The things, and my lifestyle's different, and everybody's lifestyle's different. The thing about it is you're going to stress yourself out, especially if you're a type A personality and you're going to see all the work that needs to be done, and you're gonna be able to you're not going to be able to relax, okay? And that's kind of the issue. And him and I both know that we're wired that way. We're not able to relax when something needs to be done. But for me, I consider this kind of my preparedness in a way. Now, while the land is about 1.5 miles away, aeronautically it's only maybe half a mile away. It also is a logistic nightmare. So, just to give you context, I live here with about 12 acres. Now my house is on a 1 acre piece. Then I've got 11 acres 100 foot from it. So there's someone who lives between me and 100 feet from me where the other 11 acres are. And then about 1.5 miles away, and I have to get on a 4-lane at one point to get to it. There's my remaining land that I use for homesteading, and it's about 40 acres. And it's got about 10 so acres of hayfield, 2 acres of road and creek and stuff like that. And it's more or less secluded. It has its own private entrance, and it's got a right of way to get to it. Now here I'm on a road where I can actually get to my place. And as you can see beside me, the smoke coming out of my chimney there. Not more idealistic of a scene than a little mountain house with smoke coming out of my chimney. I love it out here. That said, I've got neighbors closer, who some of them agree with my lifestyle. Some of them not so much. Now, if I lived in the middle of my 40 acres, it might be a little bit better. So whenever you have a logistic nightmare like property that's separated, there are pluses and minuses. The pluses are I don't see that 40 acres every day. There's 8 trees down from Helene on that 40 acres that I need to cut up. Well, and it's on the 10-acre field. Here, where I live, at my house, we had a branch or two fall. As you go up my mountain there, that's 11 acres, and I have an access road up there. There was a couple of trees across it, and I've already cleaned those up. But I haven't touched the other ones, and they're kind of out of sight, out of mind. So that's good. But the negative is, if I want to get my tractor from one property to the next, I'm not going to want to drive an old tractor down the interstate. So I've either got to get a trailer and trailer it. I've got to pay somebody to trailer it. or I've got to drive it on the interstate. A 1977 tractor that's, I mean, it's better than the new ones, but it's still a 1977 tractor. That creates a problem, because here I like to have a garden and till it up. Now, you could have two tractors, which I do. I have a smaller tractor and a bigger tractor, and my solution is to then keep my smaller tractor here, take my newer, smaller tractor here at the house, take my bigger one over there. Then you have a security issue. Then you have an implement issue, because my tiller goes to my big tractor. So I need to buy a tiller for my small tractor. So if I'm buying a tiller for my small tractor, you know, that's another $2,500 if I buy a new one. Then I can till up my garden and so forth. But you got to have two sets of implements if you got two different size tractors, or if they're in two different locations and you go that route. Now, I do plan on going that route, because I plan on, you know, cutting hay over there and being able to mow those fields with a bush hog and whatever I need to do. So I'll have my bigger tractor over there and to maintain that road. But I got a road here to maintain. I've got a road up the mountain to maintain here. So my needs are different places, but the logistic nightmare of having it separated and the costs associated with that are astronomical. The convenience of it being closer would also be better. In a SHTF scenario, I would be able to defend it better, because any land you cannot defend is not yours in an SHTF scenario. Now, that said, there's land near me, which I could then try to take over in that scenario. But, you know, if you don't have the privilege of working the land in a normal scenario, then it's going to be a lot harder to get to what you want it to be in an SHTF scenario. So ideally, you own it together in a normal scenario. But what do you suggest I do? Right? Now, I have a lot of negatives against owning them separately and living on the smaller piece, the smaller, more mountainous, wooded, rugged piece. I have 2 acres of cleared land, and the other 10 is wooded here. So, you know, it's a lot less valuable for farming. Very steep. I mean, this land is super steep. If you're not on the road, you're on your side on this land, other than maybe an acre of it. But I want to suggest that it's probably better to have them together logistically and for convenience, but maybe for your peace of mind and for your ability to have separation. Let's say you wanted to build your kids a house. You build it 1.5 miles away. Good. They've got a place to live. You've got something nice. You keep your investment away from you. You don't have to look at it all the time. So there are positives and negatives. What do you think? What do you think I should do? Is there any ideas as far as resolving this logistical nightmare I've got? So I'll have to have 2 barns, 2 equipment sheds, because I got 2 sets of tractors. But I need different tractors for the different land. And there are different problems. Over there, it's a lot more level. You can drive across it. You don't need a 4-wheel drive tractor as much over there. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Hay storage over there as well as over here. If I ever want to keep animals over there, they're not real close to the house, but I can keep them over here pretty close to the house. But then I need 2 barns, right? Or 2, at least, animal sheds, and I keep goats. I don't know. I really don't know the answer. And so, something to think about. What do you do in a case where you have 2 pieces of homesteading property, which is a wonderful problem to have? Don't get me wrong, but it is still a problem for me. And so, That's 2 driveways to maintain. One of them's a long section of road. Well, 2 long sections of road to maintain. 2 different areas of fencing. It's just a lot. It's a lot. It really is. So if anybody's got any advice, if anybody lives on 2 different parcels of land and homesteads both of them, works both of them as their own, please hit me up in the comments. Let me know what I need to do. I guess I don't have a lot of advice on this as much as I have a question. So something to think about when you go to buy land. If you've got a piece of vacant land, it's a lot harder to put a house on it. It's a lot harder to buy and finance if you're going to finance it. So think about that when you go purchasing homesteading land. Does it have a house on it? Is all the land together? Is all my land going to be together? Because if you buy a house, you build up that house. What I've done here is I've spent 7 years remodeling this house. And so I've got all these sunk costs in this house, and I built it the way I wanted to. Well, 2 years ago, 5 years in, this land came available, and I bought it. But I didn't foresee that coming available. So I thought, well, 12 acres is about as good as I'm going to get. Well, I didn't have any idea that I would ever get 40 or be able to afford 40. And I was, and I did. So now I've got the house the way I want it, to live in it for my lifetime. But now it's not where I would picture it best, which would be on my 40 acres. So somebody, please help me out with that. Let me know what you think and what I can do. Thanks.